Welcome back to the BTS Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Andrea. Joining me today is Morgan.
Hey, what's up?
On February 2nd, BTS released a trailer for Map of the Soul 7 called Ego, and it's sung by J-Hope, or rapped by J-Hope, either way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really hear too much about. I knew Ego was coming out. I didn't know who was doing it. I know there was some talk. It might have been Jungkook. I don't know why people thought that, but it makes more sense for one of the rap line.
So you knew the title and the thing before who was singing it? Or it was just announced as a title?
Yeah, it was on that, long schedule thing. That's like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. It was on there.
I don't keep that close track of that.
So all we knew was that it was called Ego. It was released as a video. I don't think it's on Spotify, but I'm sure it will be once
it is not.
The album comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I prefer it to be on Spotify so I could just hear it and like listen to it. But I guess we got to wait for that.
Well, they want you to have the whole experience of the visual too.
Yeah.
Right? So what were your thoughts on it?
It came out and you could see right away it's J-Hope, and it had a really good beat. I think it had kind of like an international flavor. Had like trumpets and brass and stuff.
Yeah, had a lot of trumpets. Yep.
It was very upbeat.
Dual trumpets.
The fact that it's an outro, I think it's a good song to end an album with. Not that I even know.
So it's an actual song in the album. Is that what you're saying?
It'll be.
But then it was called. You said it was a trailer.
Yeah, but I guess all they mean by that is like here you're hearing it ahead of time.
So listen, basically, so you told me to watch it in preparation for this, obviously, and then when you said watch this Ego outro trailer, I kind of rolled my eyes really hard because I was thinking, what am I watching a trailer for? And I have to think of something to say about a trailer. A trailer is just a trailer. It could be like 30 seconds of something, but then I watched it and then I said, this is just an actual music video.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's worth watching. But why is it called a trailer? Because when you say trailer, that gives me the impression that it's a lot less substantial than what it actually was, which is a whole music video. So it's like, oh, this is worth watching. It's a music video.
Yeah.
But it's called I don't get their terminology.
We're thinking of like movie trailers where it's gonna have just a couple of key scenes.
Well, no, because like K-pop. Sometimes they have trailers for things and, it's like 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I thought that's what this was going to be. And then I rolled my eyes and said, I'm not going to react. I don't have anything to say about a 30-second trailer. But this was an actual music video.
Yeah, it was a full video. There was like so much going on in this. I'm sure people could...
I'll just call it a music video from now on. And it's actually going to be on the album.
Yeah.
So I don't see how it's a trailer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know how they use the words exactly, but
right.
That's
maybe is it translated from Korean? Maybe it lost something in the translation.
Maybe.
Yeah. But in America, a trailer is just kind of just a very small snippet of something.
I think it's because
this is not a snippet.
It's not a single, so they have to call it something else.
What do you mean it's not a single?
Because we don't have the song like on Spotify. We just have a video. So it's not like actually released. It's like you just seeing the video of it.
But the video includes the entire song. Oh, so anyway, it is the whole song, so I was pleasantly surprised. It's like, wow, it's a whole song. So it's something substantial to react to. That's good. Henceforth, we will just describe it as a music video.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
So we saw Shadow before this, and we saw Black Swan. So I didn't know, is this going to continue the trend of something serious, something kind of dark?
Didn't, obviously.
Yeah, so it was a pleasant surprise, and the fact that it's J-Hope, I think it really fits the tone of the song. But I'm sure he had a lot of input in it, how it went and everything. But it had like a very positive message, I think. Basically, having confidence in the choices you made your whole life, trust yourself. They showed a lot of flashbacks to previous BTS videos, so I think they're kind of trying to tie everything together, past, present, and future.
I didn't see. Well, I don't. Previous videos, really?
Yeah, like right at the beginning when it was kind of like remixing.
Oh, okay.
That part.
Yeah. Well, number one, I was just pleasantly surprised just by the fact that it's a full video. I thought I was going to watch a 30-second trailer. But it was a whole music video. That was awesome. Number two, I really enjoyed it. It's my type of music, you know? My type of music, it's upbeat, it's positive, it has a very optimistic point of view. That's what I want from music. And you don't always get that from BTS, you don't always get that from anything, but this is the type of music I enjoy. So I appreciated that. And you know what? I think that after watching this, and I know that J-Hope is not, he's often called the least popular member of BTS, but then after watching this, I'm just going to call it a video. That's not even a trailer to me. This one, as opposed to Chicken Noodle Soup, I think that J-Hope has potential to be a solo artist, even more so than a lot of the other members. I think that he's not necessarily the most talented or obviously the best looking or even the most popular at this point. True. But to be a solo artist, you have to be able to communicate something, your personality, something about you. It has to jump at you through the screen. And I think that for whatever criticisms you may have of J-Hope, he's not the most this, he's not the most that. You can say that his personality leaps out through the screen more so than a lot of the other members. Mm-hmm. And that is an important part of being a solo artist, right? If you're in a music video and there's 7 guys there, of course, the people who are the best singers or the people who are the best looking or he is the best dancer, so I won't say that. But the people who are the best at certain things, they will leap out in a video with a group. But if you're a solo artist, you have to capture people with your personality, right? Whether the song is good, you might say, oh, the song needs to be good to capture people. But that's mainly, well, do you have a good song? Did the producers write you a good song? Right?
Yeah, producers and songwriters.
They did or they didn't, right? But will you be a successful solo artist has a lot to do with whether people can connect with your personality, whether they can feel it in very short bursts. And I think J-Hope has that over other people. He may not be the most this, and that, and that's probably why he's not the most popular member at this point. But strangely, he could be the most successful solo artist because he has this personality that just immediately resonates with people.
Mm-hmm. He definitely has a vibe that stands out. Like,
right.
You can describe something as very J-Hope.
And I can understand if you're a super fan, you can say, well, so-and-so has a personality. Jungkook has a personality. Jimin has a personality. But keep in mind that you have the context of, their V lives, all the other things that you consume. But the most consumers, they're not going to have all that context. They're not going to consume all their other stuff. They're just going to see you for a minute or two, and you need to grab them in that minute or two. Your personality needs to shine. People need to really feel you. They need to connect with you. And I think out of all of them, he probably is best at that. Mm-hmm. Connecting with a viewer, his personality connecting with people in a minute or two. Not with the added context of V Lives or whatever, because that's not realistic. That's not going to be the vast majority of consumers, right? Especially in the West. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to be a crossover artist, Western audiences are not going to be familiar with all of your personality from this, and that. They're only going to be seeing this video right now. Do you strike them as personable, as charismatic? He does. And I think that speaks well to his future as maybe a solo artist.
J-Hope is definitely one of the more relatable members. So you could definitely catch his vibe and be lifted up by hearing him rap and his style. It has a lot of color and a lot of energy. I think it was awesome. I think it's one of the better BTS videos I've seen. Honestly, it really is. Mm-hmm. So it was much more entertaining than the art film. But then I don't like contemporary dance. But this is my type of thing. I think that bodes well, especially if they choose to do enlistment staggered. They would have to have certain projects like this, right, where certain solos and things like that to sort of fill the gap. And he could do some of those. I'm not saying, hey, quit the band and go do your own thing, but he could have certain solos, and this could help fill the gap as people do their enlistment cycling and all that stuff. And they'd still be, although it's not ideal, sure, you'd still get good product. You'd still be in good hands.
right? You could have this kind of solo, that kind of solo, a subgroup here and there, and you'd still get good stuff, even if some people are, in enlistment for the cycling through for the next 5 years or whatever. So that I think should give people. I think that's a good omen for that. Did you have anything else to say on this one? I had one other thing that I got to rant about.
Well, I was going to say part of the message of the video was kind of trust the decisions you make, believe in yourself. You have to go with your gut feelings on things. And if you think about it, a lot of critical decisions happened for BTS to exist today as it is. So if it's like so many things could have gone a totally different way and then BTS wouldn't have existed. It's like RM signed with Big Hit. He could have signed with other companies. It could have been Jungkook only signed with Big Hit because he met RM and was like really impressed by him. The group disbanded a couple times. Like, what if they decided to go through with that? Or like they almost disbanded. I mean, what if they went through with that? All these decisions like could have happened, but they didn't, and they kind of stuck with it. And here's where they are today. And I think the video was kind of showing that like, just stick with what you're passionate about, keep going with it if it's something you believe in. And I just thought it was a very positive message.
Yeah, it's a positive message. It's a very upbeat song, and that's what I want to hear. I want to hear that kind of stuff. I don't want to be depressed when I listen to music. Music is escapism. There's enough, coming to grips with depressing things and just real life. When you turn on music, you don't want to necessarily hear that. But the thing that I wanted to rant about was I saw some other people's reactions. I cheated and I saw other people's reactions to this. I wasn't trying to parrot their opinions or anything because my opinions are always my own. But I did see some people mention, that part where J-Hope goes into the tailor, J-Hope's tailor, and then it's like he gets a suit or something. A lot of people, and by a lot, I mean no less than 3 of the reaction videos that I saw, they claim that was a nod to Kingsman. Now, it could be. I'm not in the minds of BTS, but in my mind, this is offensive to me. Now, here's why. There's nothing in that tailor shop that was necessarily the Kingsman to me. It just looked like a Savile Row shop where you buy suits. Savile Row has existed for 400 years, guys. Fine men's style, fashion, clothing has existed long before this movie franchise. I feel that this is an indictment. This is just emblematic of how pathetically dressed down our society is. That people think that, oh, you're wearing nice suits? That must be the Kingsman, because that's the only time that I've ever seen guys wear nice suits. This one movie. I'm like, guys, men have been wearing awesome suits. Savile Row has been around for hundreds of years. It would be like if you did a music video and you were on a boat. I'm like, oh, is that a reference to Titanic? And he said, what the do you mean is a reference to Titanic? I'm like, well, you're on the boat. And then you would respond, there's a lot more boats other than the Titanic. It's like, but that's what I remember boats from. I'm like, well, boats have a much longer history than either the Titanic, the film Titanic, and by the way, they still use boats to this day for a lot of different purposes. So the idea that you think that people using a boat can only reference the Titanic film is really embarrassing on your part and ignorant. Oh my God. Men's fashion is bigger than the Kingsman. Now, maybe it was a nod to that. I'm not saying it wasn't. But for you to automatically assume it was when there was no, specific labeling, I don't know. It just offends me. It just makes me feel like you are minimizing this actual scope, and you don't respect men's fashion. Our society is just so casual.
When I saw that part, I just thought it was talking about the future of J-Hope, because it had like Hope Records and it had Jay's Taylor, and it was like,
that makes more sense.
J-Hope owns this store. He's like kind of like his own tailor. He has his own special tailor. So this is like the future.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense to me.
I did not see Kingsman, so I'm not sure where people got that from. But I think it just
Because the only time these people have ever seen well-dressed men go into a tailor is in The Kingsman, which I think is a sad indictment on our current society. That is what I'm trying to say. You guys have no idea what it means to be a well-dressed man, and I just weep for you. I weep for you. Okay? You will never be a well-dressed man being this ignorant, and you will never have the joy of seeing a well-dressed, I guess, unless they make another Kingsman. Oh yeah, they will. Ray Fiennes is in that. Looks like a good movie.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that it showed flashbacks to all these other parts of J-Hope's life and, previous BTS videos. It kind of made me think back to this one video I saw of J-Hope. It was, I don't know when it happened exactly. It was like a vlog from either like pre-debut or like they just debuted or something. And he was talking about a fan cafe or something like that, where fans could send them messages if they wanted to, send the members, messages to say whatever, I guess, like, well, we support you as a fan. And he had this really sad daily vlog, and he was like, no one sent me any messages. And he was like, it's okay. But you could tell it was not okay. He was like really crushed about that. And so it's just so great to see like how he's come all this way, and he's made it really big, and you could see the whole history of it.
Oh, they didn't send him any messages?
Yeah.
But they sent other people because he's the least popular, right? Is that what happened?
I guess in the early days, he didn't get any messages.
Well, I mean, we do know, like, based on various polls or whatever, is he, or is it Sugar
sometimes, it seems like
it's either him or Sugar that's the least popular.
It seems like that's what happens when there's, polls and there's like all 7 of them involved, which I don't know why that is. I think J-Hope is great, and he has a lot of good energy.
He's not my least popular, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know why that is, but maybe he doesn't
Well, I mean, to be fair, though, these days, it's no big deal, because even the least popular BTS members still super popular.
Yeah, he still has like millions and millions of fans.
Yeah,
so
no loss, no big deal.
That's okay.
But early on, I guess, maybe. But yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was a really good trailer/video.
It's a video in my mind. Stop calling it a trailer.
We can look forward to the rest of the album.
Right. No, I would stop calling it a trailer, because that really sells it short.
So the Super Bowl just happened, and we saw that the halftime show this time was J-Lo and Shakira, and it looks like the NFL, their goal with that was to appeal to international audiences, and the fact that it was in Miami, they may have thought like, oh, let's have, Hispanic
makes sense.
artists, and that's why they had those two. But my thought on this was BTS would be a really great Super Bowl halftime show.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think I agree. I don't think I agree with that. Here's why. The demographic for the Super Bowl is not really BTS demographic.
It's
skews much older and much whiter.
That's true, but it looks like if the NFL wants to appeal to an international audience, like, why not try for Asians or the K-pop fans?
The international audience the NFL is looking for is Europe, though, mostly. It doesn't seem to care that much about Asia. Like, for instance, NFL, their international games, they'll have certain games that are staged in London or Mexico City. So that reveals their thinking about where they are looking to expand to next. They've never, ever sort of talked about Asia. Now, in fairness, it's a much farther trip, so they don't really necessarily want to stage a game in China. It's just so far to go.
Right.
So even if they wanted to, I think it'd be very difficult. But it's just a tall ask for the NFL to get into that market. I don't think if they're even really thinking about it right now. It's so hard. And the NFL, the game is, the barrier to entry is so high. It's really hard for not just a culture and a country to get into it, but people.
Right. Football seems confusing. It's
confusing, and let's say you want to play basketball. You need a basketball court and a ball, right? And you need 5, 10 guys, 6. You guys go play basketball. Soccer, you need even less. You need a field. This is why soccer is so popular. And you just kick a soccer ball around. Everybody can play it. in all parts of the world. The infrastructure is very slight. You only need a field, right? What do you need with football? You need not just a football. You need like pads. You need 11 guys. It's not an accessible sport. You just need the infrastructure for it to exist, and it's so hard. And I think it's always going to stay an American thing.
Maybe the sport will, but I think if you're trying to get people to tune into the halftime show and maybe like watch more of the rest of it just as a bonus, I think that would be, because like all the BTS fans would tune in for sure.
Yeah.
To halftime.
To be fair though, the size of the NFL Super Bowl audience is so big. I don't know that they would even necessarily feel that the BTS audience size is that attractive. It's big, but it's hard to say. This is like a different animal. I'm not sure that they are that interested in Asia as an emerging market. And I'm not sure that they think that the demographic for BTS, meaning mainly, girls 15 to 30, is probably their demographic.
Maybe
is that
not,
important
but
to them.
As far as a show that's enjoyable, like they should definitely book BTS.
It's an enjoyable show for sure. Right.
Like BTS, they're actually probably more popular than J-Lo and Shakira. They're more popular than Maroon 5, definitely, who was last year.
In general, yeah, they're more popular.
They have more number one albums. They sell out stadiums. Like those other acts don't sell out stadiums. Like J-Lo is doing arenas.
Although
I don't know what Shakira is doing, but
I mean, well, keep in mind. It just really doesn't even matter. Actually, they could book them. They could book them. It's not like if they book the wrong act at the halftime show, the Super Bowl is gonna be a failure, right? It's not gonna fail because of a halftime act. It's not gonna succeed or fail because of a halftime. It's gonna succeed or fail because people either like the NFL game or they don't like the NFL game. So yeah, they could book them. They could. I'm not sure that it would, expand their audience in the way that they would want.
Like, I don't know if people would be that far ahead thinking if the Grammys don't even book them, then I don't know if the NFL people would.
I think that the NFL, speaking as a person who is an NFL fan, I think that their main goal right now is to target males, American males between the ages of 15 and 25.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is those people like, I think that the NFL is very keen on catering to them, because I get the feeling that as popular as the NFL is in America, it's skewing a little bit old. It's losing some energy, some viewer base to things like esports. And the NFL doesn't like that. It's a business. It wants eyeballs on it. It doesn't want people watching esports. It wants people watching football. Well, those 15 to 25-year-old males, a lot of them are watching esports. And so whatever it is those guys like, I think that may be where the NFL is headed. But they probably not, because they are very stodgy old guys making decisions, and they'll probably, although, I don't know. Well, they did do Shakira and J-Lo, but then Shakira and J-Lo, it's not really that daring, or it's not 1997. Like maybe 15 years ago, this grouping would be, oh wow, it's so daring or whatever. Like, but it's 2020. It's not. I mean, these women have been around for a long time, so it's still pretty safe for them to cast these people. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
They won't be, casting like a Billie Eilish anytime soon. Although I don't suggest that they do. I don't think that's a good idea. But I think, whatever they'll be trying to target American males between the ages of 15 and 25. And if that means BTS, then maybe. But it kind of sounds like that's not the demographic that BTS touches on. Although they would be a better show, probably, than a lot of the acts that they would cast. Especially since a lot of their acts are just lame and old.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to see like Paul McCartney or like Aerosmith or
I don't
something
think you'll ever
like
see
that.
Paul McCartney again. Those two acts are almost dead.
Or like Rolling Stones or Elton John, like all those acts that have been around a long time.
Right.
I just...
Nobody over the age of
doesn't excite
65,
people.
please. And they are all over the age of 65. But
I just think if there's somebody who's in charge of this, maybe they're forward thinking. Maybe they're going to think, oh, K-pop, that's a huge thing. It's going to be a huge thing. They should book BTS because that's the biggest K-pop act. And
Yeah.
you're going to get a really good show. You're going to get a lot of dancing.
You'll get a very good
and
show,
singing
for sure.
and high energy songs. And next year it's going to be in Tampa, which is whatever. Like, they're not going to be beholden to any like cultural thing. You know,
No.
Tampa, it could be any kind of act.
It could.
And then the year after that, it's in Los Angeles.
It really
So
doesn't matter where it is at.
I think sometimes they care where it's at because it's like, let's
yeah.
get something that matches the city. You know, if it's in
Okay.
LA though, I think that's perfect for BTS because they're just right there. They could just
Yeah.
2022.
I just feel like, yeah, it's hard to say because the NFL it's pretty stodgy. It's very slow to change. And the amount of decision makers who are aware of BTS in the NFL, I have to assume that it's close to zero. So I wouldn't get your hopes up.
I think, yeah, but a year from now, 2 years from now, maybe they will get a clue and maybe they'll be
maybe
on top of it.
Well, I mean, if let's say they're looking for an act and they just ask their intern, get me the most popular music acts right now. And then those people compile a list. Well, in the next 2 years, presumably, BTS will be on that list because they sell stadiums at the moment. There are very few acts that sell stadiums. I can only think of a very few, like Taylor Swift, the Stones if they tour,
Yeah.
Coldplay if they tour. Very, very few acts sell stadiums. So if the decision makers just say, well, just give me the most popular acts, mathematically, BTS will be on that list.
Right.
Will they be eliminated after that? No, not necessarily. I mean, remember, like, Justin Timberlake was on it. He was a boy band, whatever. But at that time, he was just a boy band person, right?
Yeah.
So they could. Now, will they be the only act that year? No, they probably have to share with some other group, or people. But that's typical too.
I'm just worried that they're gonna think, oh, next year maybe that needs to be a country artist because you gotta like alternate every once in a while with like country.
They don't
artists.
even alternate though, do they? I don't think so. No.
Because sometimes you have to like cater to
Do they alternate with
what the
country
South
artists?
wants.
I don't even think they really try to do that. Because isn't it always? It's usually like a pop group or a rock group. I can think of very few times it was just straight country.
Yeah, lately it's been a lot of pop or rock.
No, they don't try to cater to country in the Super Bowl. No, that's a regional thing. They understand that as a regional thing, I think. So that's possible. It's possible. If somebody was just going strictly by the numbers and just doing it, mathematically, doing the analytics, it's possible that they reach out to BTS. But if they were thinking about it deeply, if I were that decision maker, I would say no.
Who would you book for next year if you're trying to book the Super Bowl?
I know you hate it, but it's just probably old people. Probably like Bruno Mars again or something like that.
He did have a really good show. He's good every single time.
I know BTS is super popular, but you have to understand that the demographics of the Super Bowl it's just not 15 to 30-year-old girls.
Bruno Mars has to have an album before next year, though.
No, he doesn't. Prince didn't have an album when he did it.
Yeah, but he's Prince. Like Bruno Mars, he performed all those songs already at the last time he was at the Super Bowl.
True, but you know what? Bruno Mars is now our Prince.
Oh, okay.
Hey, don't at me and say that it's blasphemy. Look at all the commonalities. Number one, they're both short, right? Number two, they're both like not black or no. They're like light skin, sort of. Anyway,
like
the point
guys.
is, yeah. So they're both very similar. Bruno Mars is our generation's Prince. Okay? I don't think that's unfair to say.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, he's our generation's Prince. So he can do another Super Bowl show. And he's a good show. And he has a name recognition for a lot of people to say, wow, great halftime show. I would have no problem with BTS doing it, but I'm just preparing you to... I don't think the NFL decision makers would really jump at that just because of the demographics involved.
Well, let me tell you about... I'm in this Facebook group, and they kind of had a poll. It's like, who would you want to see at the next Super Bowl performing? And keep in mind, this is like mostly like women answering.
Yeah, it's not NFL fans.
No, but look, I can tell you what's wrong with every single person that they said.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people said Taylor Swift, which I would like to see.
Well, why couldn't she?
I think she has endorsement issues. So like she's a
Oh.
Coke person and it's a Pepsi halftime show.
Okay.
So I don't know if she's still connected to that.
Well, that would
But
kill it. Yeah.
that would be a barrier.
A
So,
big barrier.
And then a lot of people said Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
No.
Why not her? She's a big artist.
She doesn't have a lot of like fast songs. You know what I mean? Like you need a couple high energy songs, like at least to start it and end it. You know what I mean? Like she has a lot of ballads and like R&B kind of songs.
How about Rihanna? She has a ton of songs in her repertoire.
I would like Rihanna, but does she sing anymore? Like she just runs her like makeup and clothing empire.
Oh, true. She doesn't even try to work. And also, I hate to say it, but anytime that the NFL tries to hire black people for a thing, there could be issues.
They're gonna decline.
They're going to be like, oh, I still feel some kind of way about Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Even though you really shouldn't, because why the hell did the NFL get Jay-Z on board to collaborate, if not to solve this issue?
Right. I thought
I thought that solved it.
they were trying to bury the hatchet.
Yeah, thought that solved it.
With the community.
Yeah. Well, next time, Jay-Z, you do it. Oh, you know what? Kanye West.
That would be something.
That would be a Super Bowl show. Oh my God. I'm for that right now.
He has enough songs. He could do it.
Of course he has enough. He has more than enough.
He definitely has enough.
Yeah.
Here's what some other people said. Lizzo.
No.
I don't think you're for Lizzo doing the halftime show.
Who said that? I want to track them down. Dox them. Who said that? Kanye.
And then, a bunch of people said, all these different country people, which I'm not really for.
Fine.
I don't really like
care.
country, but they were
Good.
like, Casey Musgraves, Luke Combs,
Yeah, okay. I don't even...
Shania Twain.
I'm not against them.
I mean, I guess they'd be okay. I'm not really into that style of music,
But a lot of football fans are.
at least that would make sense. If
Yeah.
if they had like Carrie Underwood and Casey Musgraves,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, okay, I could see that.
You have to... I respect appealing to a large percentage of the customer base. Sure.
That would be acceptable, I think.
Right.
And then some people said Jonas Brothers.
Okay, not bad.
Do they have enough songs though? I don't.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Okay.
You just didn't like them, but they do have some songs. Like, remember, we were like listening to some songs, and then a song was playing that you knew, and it was a good song, presumably that you like. And then you said, hey, I didn't know that was a Jonas Brothers song. So you see, maybe they have lots of songs like that, where you know it, and it's fine, it's pleasant to you, but you just didn't know it was a Jonas Brothers song.
Yeah. I guess
See?
I'm just skeptical of them having enough of a catalog.
Well, I mean, for the Super Bowl, you only need 4 songs, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these artists, like this last Super Bowl, they did a medley of like 20 songs.
Yeah, it was like 30 seconds of each
Right.
of the biggest songs.
Which is on its face kind of irritating, but understandable, because if you have a catalog where you like a lot of songs, okay, fine. But you don't have to do a medley of 30 songs. You could do a medley of 4, right?
So you think Jonas Brothers would be acceptable?
I believe it would be acceptable. They're very white bread. Most people like them or are neutral to them, Or bring back Katy Perry, something like that. She needs to have like a hit album first.
I would like Katy Perry, but she needs another big album.
Yeah, she needs another big album.
I don't think her last album was like as big as like Teenage Dream. So...
But you know what? I think she's reached that status of you can just come back.
Right. She's like A-list.
Yeah. You'll always be A-list, in my opinion, Katy Perry. So she could be a Super Bowl person. I mean, think about it. Like Paul McCartney, The Who, the Rolling Stones. Mm-hmm. Were they A-list when they played the Super Bowl? They were almost dead.
Right. They just had, the status.
They just had, like the people who watch the Super Bowl, they love these groups. Or presumably... a lot of them like this group. And I hate to break it to you, Katy Perry is not the youngest artist at this point. So a lot of her demographic does watch the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But the Super Bowl is watched more by males. So what kind of Green Day. What about Green Day?
Some of the rock bands.
Yeah, like rock bands from like the 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah.
I think that would work really well for like the Super Bowl audience.
Yeah,
something like that.
They're still around.
Yeah, I do think that, like a Green Day would be a great, because they're going to kind of slide into this role that the Rolling Stones are in.
The
right?
like nostalgia.
Yeah, the nostalgia is like, I'm a male and I'm 50 years old and I like to remember the songs from my childhood. Well, for a while that was the Rolling Stones, but that generation's aging out.
Mm-hmm.
Who's replacing them?
Right.
Like a Green Day, right? Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. Maybe Green Day will be their next something that they could consider. These are the more practical ones. Of course, selfishly, we would like a BTS.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, it doesn't make a lot of sense on the face of it for them.
I think maybe by 2022 they'll be more mainstream and more like,
Maybe
liked by all genders,
but
like male and female. So
for now, it doesn't quite make sense for them, I think. But if it was one of those years where they had a bunch of different artists, not just one or two, maybe like three. There's some years where they have like three, right?
Yeah.
They could fit into something like that. And then they could just balance it out with other types of artists.
Yeah. And like they've done enough collaborations that there's enough other Americans they work with. It could just be a group thing, like with multiple people.
Yeah. So they could play the Super Bowl. I'm not going to say it's impossible or it's illogical, but the NFL probably doesn't prefer it at this point.
If anyone's going to be the first K-pop
well, of course it's going to be them.
Yeah, I think it should be them. Did they say if the ratings were high this year at the Super Bowl?
No one knows yet.
Oh, okay.
I would assume it is, though.
I feel like there was a lot more interest this year than last year. In other news this week, BTS passed Justin Bieber for the top social 50 record on Billboard.
What's that?
This is a record that is tracked by Billboard, their social 50 chart, and it talks about how many weeks at number one, whoever the top social group is, and they measure data from multiple social media, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Wikipedia. So when I see it, it's usually people on Twitter who are tagging BTS just in every single post that's about them or hashtagging them. So every time you do that, that adds to their total of being a top social artist. And
really just hashtagging people?
Yeah, just hashtagging or tagging them. That proves that their fans are engaged. And I guess Billboard has been tracking that for however many years, because the record had previously been by Justin Bieber for 163 weeks at number one. But we knew this record was going to be broken because his streak ended in 2017 and BTS's streak started after that. And it's like they're probably not going to be defeated at this point. They have a lot of... So many fans.
It'll probably be at least another year.
Yeah, they're gonna make the record really, really high at this point because their fans like actually care about stuff like that. Whereas I think American fans don't even really care. It's like if they're posting about Justin Bieber, they're just doing it to do it, not to set any records. So that's kind of the different mindset there.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show how important it is to have this social media presence in this day and age. I mean, BTS was able to become a huge success basically through internet, social media, things like that. They didn't have a huge record label helping them push themselves in the United States. It was mainly through social media.
That's true, and their breakthrough...
This is going to be the way it is going forward.
Yeah.
Probably.
Their breakthrough in the American market was kind of through Billboard and AMAs, which have more fan voting and fan
I don't even
tracking.
think it was through that necessarily. I think it was just through organic people sharing it with each other.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need American radio. They don't need the Grammys. They don't need the apparatus that made successful music acts in the past.
Yeah.
Because it's a new world. The internet is just a new world. They need YouTube. They need Twitter and V Live or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can create a super successful group just based on that.
Yeah, that's the strength of BTS is that's how they get fans to be so obsessed with them. It's like they open up about their lives. They're on V Lives. They're on social media all the time. And everybody follows that and cares about what they're posting. So.
Yeah. So not a surprise. I mean, they're going to be number one for a while. And it's a very new thing. It's only like 10 years old.
Yeah. So BTS, they now have 164 weeks at number 1 on the Social 50, and they broke Justin Bieber's record of 163 weeks. And then the next one down is like way down. It's like 28 weeks for Taylor Swift. So it's...
My question is, why is Justin Bieber so popular?
I guess, I mean, if his streak ended in 2017, then it must have started with his last album. So it's like
I mean, Taylor Swift's been around since 2010, right? She's been around since 2010.
Yeah.
And if you were to look at album sales, if you were to look at the work produced, you would think that she's more popular than Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, their social media footprint, according to Billboard or whatever, is Justin Bieber is the winner. Interesting.
Taylor Swift, she takes big gaps, so I think she can't...
She takes big gaps? What has Justin Bieber been on?
Right. But like in between albums, she's not on social media at all.
Oh.
And I mean, I don't think he is either, and that's why his streak ended.
I think his fans are just more... I don't know. Just like boy bands just have more... Let's be honest. Boy bands, their fans are teenage girls, right?
Yeah.
So... Although a lot of Taylor Swift fans are also teenage girls. But maybe he just has more rabid teenage... You know, this is a social media thing. It's not the be-all, end-all of who's the biggest, most popular artist, of course. It's just one way of measuring it. But BTS is number 1 in that sense. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're bigger than someone else, right? Because I would argue that Taylor Swift is still bigger.
Yeah.
And she has never been number 1. She's even been number 2 to Justin Bieber, who I would argue has very rarely been a bigger artist than her since 2010, which is, I believe, how long this metric has been. They've been keeping track of it, right? Mm-hmm. How many times in the past 10 years would you say that Justin Bieber is a bigger artist? Very few.
Yeah.
But like you said, he has 163 weeks. She has 20 something. I think it just goes to show maybe it's skewed in some ways. That's all.
Yeah, and also this has to do with consecutive weeks. So if you are active for a little while and then, I'm off social media for a while, then your streak's over. So I think BTS fans are able to keep everything going continuously for a long time.
It's still a good accomplishment, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that it's not an American artist that's number 1 now. Because, social media, a lot of it is like Americans, right? Like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's like American based.
Although that's changing more and more every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big accomplishment. I don't know if it's a big. It's an accomplishment, and it shows how the industry is changing.
Yeah, I'm surprised
it's not driven by old forces.
I'm surprised there's not more other K-pop groups in there.
There probably are, right? I mean, doesn't like EXO also place high on these sorts of things?
Yeah.
What happens is they're probably just eclipsed by BTS. You don't see them.
Right.
But they're there.
They're just tracking who's at number 1. Mm-hmm. Thank you to our guest, Morgan. You can find BTS Happy Hour on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. New episodes weekly. Please comment, review, or rate in the podcast platform you're using. Follow us on Twitter @OurBTS. Until next time, this has been the BTS Happy Hour. Thanks for listening, and remember, make every hour a happy one.